Hey everybody, I'm Pops, and I'm going to dive into something that's a little bit different, and that is movies that are based on comic books or graphic novels. Yeah, some that might actually surprise you. It's 10 films that a lot of people just don't even know started out in the comic book arena. So check this out,
Let
see
me
what
tell
you
you
think.
about the show called Pops, where we drop the knowledge on all the latest thoughts. From comics and movies, games and TV
All
shows.
right, first up is Red. That's right, that Bruce Willis, John Malkovich, Morgan Freeman, Helen Mirren, Frank Moses is a retired CIA agent. That's right. Warren Ellis and Cully Hamner did this high octane action explosion comic book graphic novel. That's right. It's not one that most people even have connected the dots on. I think it's a really fun read. And if you're into that, you want a little of that edgier type content, I think it's a book that you might want to go check out. We love the films. We think they're extremely rewatchable. Mrs. Pops actually has them both read and read too on her willing to rewatch list. It's kind of like the really cool spy stuff that feels very grounded and believable. And the comic book stuff is just as good, if not better, than the movie. So feel free to check it out. All right, next up is Atomic Blonde, something that I actually revisited here recently, the Cold War spy movie that involved Charlize Theron and James McAvoy with a great little role by John Goodman. Doesn't get the credit for that one. I didn't really do a follow-up review, but I watch this movie pretty regularly just to kind of have on in the background because there's like 3 or 4 scenes that I really do like and enjoy, and it's not like super good. The comic book is a lot more immersed. It's a little bit deeper in the weeds. It's called The Coldest City. It's Anthony Johnston. She's kicking butt, taking names. She's an MI6 agent named Lorraine Broughton. I think it's moody. It's a black and white comic book that's a little edgier and grittier that deal with stuff that was done more in like the 90s. So I think people would really enjoy that. I found the film to be a reasonably fun adaptation. I don't want to pass judgment either way. I think the comic book has a lot more of universe building and stuff in it. The movie just barely tapped. And since it hasn't gotten a sequel, I don't really know if they're going to be able to tap into more of that, but that's one to put out there. Again, that one is called The Coldest City. All right, black and white comic book, aliens, men suited up to fight said aliens. That's right, Men in Black, the blockbuster comedy with Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah, Lowell Cunningham's comic book is way darker, way edgier, all sorts of crazy paranormal stuff, not just aliens. I think it's definitely it leans a lot more into humor even than the comic book was shooting for, but I think the movie's fun. I have a lot of fun rewatching most of those films. I will tell you what, kind of wish I really need to get like a hardcover version of those comic books because they're kind of fun to revisit as well. But yeah, Men in Black started as a comic book. Did you know? Love to hear your thoughts. All right, Edge of Tomorrow. That's right. Edge of Tomorrow is actually based on a Japanese manga called All You Need Is Kill. It's a series, and the movie does a great job with Tom Cruise. Emily Blunt is there as these characters that's stuck reliving the same day, an endless loop, dying over and over again, learning how to defeat these aliens. Like it's an interesting concept. The movie made a lot of changes, but I think the core concept was kept. Winning the war straight out of the pages of this graphic novel is something that I think you might enjoy if you haven't checked it out. I've only read it once. I don't have a physical copy. I need to figure out how to get my hands on something a little more tangible. I think they've constantly gone to the well and tried to figure out a way to do a sequel, continue building in that world, but hasn't materialized. And I'm not sure I expect it. But yeah, Edge of Tomorrow. All right, I got to throw one in here that might trip you up a little bit. Not see this coming. That's right. Jim Carrey, this comedy, this cartoon, this fun was actually a pretty dark, chaotic, violent comic book, the Mask. That's right. Yes, it was a light, super silly Stanley Ipkiss puts on the mask and it's crazy and whatever. Ooh, the comic book is way darker, deadlier, dangerous, crazy world. Definitely something to consider, but I haven't read it in a long time. It actually dates back to the 90s for that movie, so I can't imagine 30 years of the movie. Wow, Jim Carrey. But yeah, that was actually a comic book, guys. Super cool. All right, this is one that's sort of like I'm very divided on, right? I'm divided on the movie and I'm divided on the book. That's right. Johnny Depp in From Hell, the Jack the Ripper story by Alan Moore. The comic book dives really deep into like conspiracy theories and all the infamous murders. History is kind of blended with fiction, so it really feels like an Oliver Stone sort of conspiracy theory type project. The movie does a fine enough job trying to adapt something like that. It feels like something off of Johnny Depp's long resume of things to have said he has done. I'm kind of mixed on both. Don't really go to the well and revisit both, but wanting to try to do that a little bit. But if you're really into that type of lore and storytelling, I think it's something to consider. And yeah, From Hell, graphic novel. All right, since I sound like I was bagging on Alan Moore a little bit, let me give him a lot of love. V for Vendetta. V for Vendetta is another great story. It's a great film. David Lloyd's art, I think, is fantastic. This dystopian world that he builds, where the rebels and the political unrest has kind of come to a hilt with V fighting against this fascist government. The film really keeps the spirit of all that alive. It gives you a lot of great imagery. The graphic novel and the story dives way deeper into like the themes on freedom and identity and how to resist. I think everything really works really well, and I don't think that the adaptation takes away from Alan's more original. It may not just be the perfect adaptation, but I think both hold up exceedingly well and definitely are worth your time if you have to check those out. All right, now this is one when I had found out, I couldn't believe it. This is actually a 2002 movie. That's right. Road to Perdition, Tom Hanks. It is a graphic novel by Max Allan Collins, Richard Pierce Rayner. It's gritty. It's a Depression era story about a hitman, Michael Sullivan, and their son. They are on the flee from the mob. The film adds a lot more to that. It gets a lot more into like the emotions and things like that. But I think the concepts of family and betrayal and vengeance and all of that are there in the original source material. I haven't read this in a long, long time. I don't have a physical copy, but I can tell you what, it's worth a read, worth checking out. And I actually love rewatching that movie as well. It's kind of an underrated sort of crime film from that era. Yeah, based on a graphic novel. Okay, remember this list is things that might surprise you is based on a graphic novel. So this one may not surprise you, but I can tell you it's really one of the worst adaptations, and that is Wanted, the 2008 James McAvoy, Angelina Jolie action, crazy bullet bending film, right? Mark Millar does a great, great job in this comic book. It is way darker, edgier. Super villains are ruling everything, right? The movie tones all of that down, but Wesley's journey there becoming this deadly assassin, I think is done good enough to get people's attention. And I wish that we would have more wanted material, whether it be a reboot and getting into the graphic novel and Mark Miller's universe, basically the Millerverse. But yeah, Wanted makes the list. I think the film shortchanges the source material, but not the worst thing in the world. All right, I threw this one on the list because I didn't remember this one. I was like, "Oh man, that's good. I should put that out there for my own thing, right?" Yeah, Bong Joon-ho's Snowpiercer is a graphic novel. It's a French graphic novel that I didn't know anything about. So I'm assuming with all the praise and love that I'm seeing with this one about class struggle and survival, the train can't stop because the earth is frozen. This is fantastic to know because I really am interested because it's been adapted into a film and it's been adapted into a TV series. And I watched some of the TV series. I enjoy a lot of it. I think it's extremely intense and there's a lot of material here to chew on. So I'd be interested to see what the comic book divs and the graphic novel really kind of fleshes all that out. So yeah, that one made the list for me as much as for you. All right, there you have it. I Am Pops. That's 10 movies that you may not have known. There were comic book adaptations. It's great to see these original stories kind of come to light, get to the big screen, find an audience. But I also want to try to keep raising awareness that these are books to get out there. Head to your local comic book shop, see if you can get a copy there, support your local business. And if not, then go ahead and hit them up online, see if you can get a copy there and read these. But don't forget to check out this video and others like it. Thank you so much for watching. I Am Pops.
Thank you for tuning